Hello everyone, this is Himanshi from Master's Cave. Today we have Kavya Maheshwari who has cracked UGC NET JRF Law exam. It was conducted in December 2023 and a day before yesterday only we have got the result. And we're getting a lot of common questions regarding this exam, the preparation strategy, which paper is more important, importance of maths, duration of the preparation. So these are some basic questions every aspirant have in their mind. So let's ask Kavya about the strategy that she has followed during the preparation.
My strategy was like after you taught a particular topic from any unit, I
Yes.
used to cover that much part on the day which you taught itself. Like I attended the evening classes most of the time,
Okay.
6 to 7 or 6 to 7:30. What was the time? I had my dinner and everything. Then 9 to 11, I have to usually sit at that time and revise what you have taught. And afterwards, I would have solved the MCQs related to that portion, the day itself.
Okay.
That was my
The
strategy.
MCQs you used to solve in that particular day itself?
Huh, ma'am. Mostly I used to solve that
I
on
mean,
that
like
particular day.
approximately 40 to 50 MCQs.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever was available, like related to that topic, I could find the MCQs. I used to solve that on that very day.
Okay. And from where did you solve MCQs? Online sources, books? From where did you solve these MCQs?
Ma'am, most of the MCQs were provided by you only in the group itself, like with respect to jurisprudence, public international law, and constitution also. And you also suggested some LLM books which we could refer to solve MCQs. So I did that. Like
Okay.
I strictly followed your strategy, ki revise and do solve MCQs, do solve MCQs. So I
Yes.
thoroughly implemented that thing in my journey.
Perfect, Kavya. And one more thing, Kavya, you tell me, was this your first attempt or before this also you took this attempt?
Ma'am, when I was in my LLM, like I attempted for the June attempt, but I couldn't like crack it because like 4 marks se mera reh gaya tha, but still I was like, okay, it's okay. I didn't have that much of time and whatnot thing.
Okay.
And my aim always was to crack JRF. So
Okay. And
always it needed more efforts and time and proper strategy and everything.
right, you missed UGC net by 4 marks in the first attempt, right?
Yes, ma'am, for the assistant professor
Okay.
wala thing. Yes,
And did
ma'am.
you appear for any competitive exam before this, like any LLM entrance or judiciary exam?
Ma'am, obviously I did my master's from NLU Jodhpur, so I set for CLAT PG examination the day, like the year before it. So I have a knack for that, na, sitting and learning and doing things and practicing and all that was there. But UGC NET exam is kind of a competitive exam. उसमें एकदम different approach चाहिए. What
100%.
you did in a judiciary and वो नहीं चलेगा because the type of questions they're asking, that's not even in the MCQ books.
Totally.
Like what I have believed, like
Yes.
for paper one, people say you can refer to Kivis Madan and whatnot books, but the questions they're asking now, it always take you by surprise in the examination itself. Ki, oh, this is also a topic which I was supposed to read or something.
Mhm.
So my master cave has like मेरा जो पेपर 2 का जो इतना फाउंडेशन स्ट्रांग हुआ है वो सिर्फ मास्टर केव की वजह से हुआ है कि दैट आई कुडंट लाइक हैव टाइम फॉर पेपर 1 एज वेल. आपने पढ़ाया एंड आई लाइक वही है ना मैम, पढ़ते सब है, आपने सबको पढ़ाया. इट्स नॉट यू गिव मी अ स्पेशल लेक्चर और समथिंग कि वी हैड अ वन ऑन वन कॉन्वर्सेशन और समथिंग एल्स. आपने सबको इक्वल फेयर चांस दिया, सबको पढ़ाया, सबको सेम स्ट्रैटेजी बताई. बट वो जो डिफरेंस है बिटवीन मी एंड द अदर एस्पिरेंट्स इज लाइक आई पुट इन मोर एफर्ट्स.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
put in more efforts because I had a clear goal in my mind कि this is my last chance, I have to crack it. So maybe that part is lagging in some of the aspirants, but I can assure them कि आपके साथ थोड़ा involve होके follow you perfectly, blind faith करके कि आप जैसे बता रहे हो बिल्कुल perfect बता रहे हो, do MCQs, do revise and everything, they can also achieve it. If I can do it, they can also do it. It's nothing a
No thing. As you said,
luck-based
that
way.
approach is very different from this exam, or judiciary exam is very different from this exam.
Yes,
So, what
ma'am.
is the difference you have found in these two? Maybe the trivia part. Trivia part is more in UGC NET. That trivia knowledge is not there in CLAT exam and judiciary exams, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
For example,
Because
NGT has how many schedules? So these are some basic questions that we have to cover in UGC NET, but we
yes,
don't
ma'am.
cover in other exams, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Exactly, ma'am.
And what subjects did you cover first, like jurisprudence, PIL? Did you cover any specific subjects first and then you moved on to some other subjects?
Ma'am, my approach was like I found out my strengths and weaknesses. My
Yes.
strengths were related to the constitution law, torts, and contract because I have a corporate specialization. So I was more confident in the commercial laws wala aspect. What I was not confident with the public international law, jurisprudence, and environmental law, human rights law, because I have never read those subjects in detail. But questions were or has always been coming from that areas, like unexpected questions. So I thoroughly followed your strategy, like how much detail you ask us to study. I even read the UN charters, like everything which I could have possibly read. I did that,
Right.
following your footsteps. So whatever you told me, I did that. Maybe a little more efforts from my side because I was weak in that areas compared to my other batchmates or other people. So that's the turning point for me, at least to crack this exam.
And did you give more importance to paper two than paper one, or you gave similar importance to both the papers?
Ma'am, what I have felt is like in my June attempt, what mistake I did was I totally focused on paper two because
Okay.
I thought law, I have been studying for 5 years, and for my masters I also studied. So एक होता है ना कि हाँ ये तो मेरा ही domain है, I will excel in it. I
Plus, it
don't have
has
to.
100 questions, and paper one has 50 questions, and that is one of the
Yes,
reasons
ma'am.
one should
So
give more
I thought
importance.
that paper one is all maths and all. तो एक होता है ना मैम अपने पे थोड़ा confidence, maybe over confidence की I had maths till 12th, right? I excelled in that also. I scored 94 in boards. मैं कहा maths हो जाएगा. But suddenly the DI का question came. I was frozen at that time because I couldn't solve it. I
Okay.
hardly solved one or two questions there. So
Some
I think,
did you practice DI before exam?
ma'am, I was overconfident.
Oh, you did not solve any DI before exam.
Ma'am, not for this exam, for the June attempt, I'm saying.
Okay.
Ma'am, for this exam, I totally followed you. I always practice one DI daily. Like
Okay.
for the last 1 month, I practice maths daily. Thoda questions, 10,
And
15
do you think
questions.
maths is really important? Matlab, I feel maths is very important because most of the aspirants have this problem. So
Ma'am,
they
the
just keep this
thing is
maths.
that, no, what I believe, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Ma'am, the thing I felt is that you have to find your strengths and weaknesses.
Hmm.
If you think your maths it's not for you can go for other units. But अगर आप paper one को totally as a वो thing ले कि नहीं भी हुआ तो चल जाएगा, that's not the correct approach.
Okay.
Because you have to have a balance putting in both the papers. Like at least score 30 to 35 questions in paper one.
Hmm.
Because law, ma'am, आपको पता है how unexpected the paper is. Even though we have like read all the case laws, everything, we didn't leave anything, then still questions comes, right?
Exactly. 15 questions are buffer questions. Every time
Buffer questions, right? And
questions.
what I believe is like revision is the key to success.
Right, definitely.
Multiple revisions, MCQs, mock tests, आपको देना ही पड़ेगा.
And Kavya, did you incorporate mock test? Matlab, were you regular in the mock test every week and the half syllabus mock test that I
Ma'am, whenever you have like, you know it, na ma'am, I always was there and attended all the mock
and
tests
in the
which were.
top three, Kavya Maheshwari was always there. Kavya, Simrat, Niharika. Matlab, you guys were excellent in the class. Excellent. Matlab, you were very regular with the course. As you said that you left, like you covered just basics from IPR. But do you think this is the smart thing to do, just to cover basics, or do you think each and every topic is important for the exam? Although you know that this is my strength, but do
हाँ.
you recommend leaving or skipping any unit?
Ma'am, maybe because of the time constraint, I left IPR because I was feeling overwhelmed with the syllabus and everything. But I think it's not the right strategy to leave a unit, but
Yes.
taking the time constraint and my own capabilities and my abilities, I think to invest in a unit which you have never covered, it's better to solve MCQs and PYQs.
Right.
And you can cover MCQs of that unit also. At least you'll get to know the idea of what kind of questions are coming from there. So I think this is, but I'm not suggesting you should leave a unit or something. You have to cover each and every unit.
At least basics should be
At least basics. Like, ma'am, I covered the basics because you told me so. Ki cover, don't leave it entirely. So
totally covered.
yes, ma'am.
Kavya, one more thing. Kavya, do you think one should refer, any aspirant should refer multiple sources, multiple books to crack this exam, like multiple resources you are following and multiple books you are following? Or you should feel that one should stick to one source, one book, and then you can solve multiple MCQs from different books? What do you think?
Ma'am, the latter is the correct for my preparation because I didn't focus only on the Arihant book for the
Hmm.
MCQ practice. For
Hmm.
paper one also, I purchased you recommended Navdeep Kaur ma'am ka book was there for the solving the PYQs. So
Right.
PYQs only for the PYQs I purchased and I came across a lot of topics like which I told you also like Ma'am, you are
Yes,
aware of
yes,
those
yes,
topics,
skill
right?
test and all,
Because
yes.
when you search PYQs, you came to know about the topics which are being asked in the paper. Like the
Definitely.
paper pattern for paper one has changed tremendously over the years. They're
Mhm.
not asking you, ki, what is this here? What is this? They are asking conceptual questions because
It's
obviously we are becoming assistant professors with that. We've developed like we are delving into the field of research. So इतना basic आपको आना चाहिए. And I would suggest कि आप पढ़ो, इंटरेस्ट के साथ पढ़ो. आपको ऐसे पढ़ाना है कि आप पढ़ रहे हो पर आपको आगे भी किसी को पढ़ाना है. So you need in-depth knowledge, right?
absolutely very right.
तो मैम मैं उसी माइंडसेट से मैं पढ़ाई की कि आपने पढ़ाया, बट इफ आई थिंक इट्स नॉट इनफ फॉर मी, आई यूज्ड टू लाइक गूगल इट,
Hmm.
रेफर माय एलएलबी और उसके नोट्स वगैरह एंड फैसिलिटेट देम. बस
Right.
मैम यही अप्रोच थी एंड
It
में.
was very insightful. I hope this will help all the aspirants because
यस
most
मैम.
of them had these questions that how should we start preparing for the exam? And do you think 3 or 4 months duration is sufficient to crack this exam? 3 or 4 months duration, like if they start now, and will they be able to complete by June?
Ma'am, mostly like I only had 2.5 months preparing for this exam.
Mhm.
Maybe I can say that I had an edge over the others because others are working professionals also. They are currently in the LLM also. But when I started my journey in June, I was also a LLM candidate.
Hmm.
And it was very difficult for me to focus on the exam because I had all my dissertations and you know the drill, how the drill goes in LLM and everything,
Very hectic,
dissertation.
yes, yes, no doubt.
So, ma'am, I thoroughly like started preparing in mid-September.
Hmm.
September was there, October, November was there, and finally December we had that exam. So I think if you're like totally focused and concentrated,
Hmm.
आप crack कर लोगे. It's not a difficult exam, but smart study has to be there.
Yes.
And first of all, I think what all aspirants should understand is that it's not a competition with others. It's a competition with you, but yourself only. Because you are there and NTA is on the other side who is making a benchmark. You just have to reach that benchmark. And I think getting help from others is not demeaning.
Hmm.
Niharika was a true inspiration for me because whenever I was not able to like reach you for a thing, she was always there to like understand my anxiety issues and whatnot. We used to talk a lot. We used to exchange a lot of things. Okay, I came across this topic. You came across this. Okay, let's discuss in something. Simrat was also there. Ki, Acha, this is the MCQ I couldn't solve. Please help me out and this. So I think that is also important because sometimes you might skip a topic. You might not come across such a question, but others are coming. And
Hmm.
if they're asking in the group, you should answer. You
Definitely.
revert back.
It is very important. I think healthy
Very
discussion
important.
is very important.
Yes, ma'am.
When I cracked the exam, I also used to follow the same strategy. I used to discuss it with my friends, even though I have not met them in person, but through group
Yes, ma'am.
also I have connected with them, and we used to discuss questions that time. It is very important, and it makes you it makes you curious. You know that okay, this person has done this topic. Now you should also do this topic. So that
Yes, ma'am.
competition, feeling that feeling is there.
Ma'am, because in a virtual world, it's you, your laptop. But if you get some companion with you, you feel like, yeah, I'm in the same boat, she's in the same boat. We are all together in this journey. But it's like a marathon only. You have to study, study, study. And sometimes you feel demotivated. You question yourself, ki, why I am doing such this much for just an exam or something. Like I have my job, I could like, ma'am, एक होता है ना कि हाँ, have a safety net. अगर नहीं हुआ तो हो जाएगा. But that's not the spirit which you should like follow. I would preach कि अगर आपको करना है, like if you want to achieve something, you have to make sacrifices. Like for the last 1 month after Diwali, I didn't step out from my home. I was busy in home, studying, revising, attending classes. Okay, maybe I have an advantage because I'm not working right now, but still, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Being a working professional is not a limitation. It's
Hmm.
like how you usefully use your weekends for your studies.
Kids plus if you start early, I'm sure they can also crack the exam.
Ah,
Even
yes, ma'am.
if they're not
Yes, ma'am.
full-time aspirants, they just have to start early. If they're not full-time aspirants,
Ah,
they
yes,
have
ma'am.
to start at least 3 or 4 months prior.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just saying, ki, ma'am, it's not about the quantity of hours which matters. It's all about the quality of the work you are like efforts you're putting into. And MCQ solving is very important because आप theory पढ़ लेते हो and you have a confidence, हाँ, I'm able to retain. But
Hmm.
वो नहीं चलता until you have a practical application of that theory which you have learned. and it is through the MCQs only.
Yes, yes. I have seen many aspirants. They were regular in the classes, and they told me that ma'am, paper was very difficult. Paper one was very difficult. पता नहीं questions कहाँ से आ गए थे. Questions वहीं से आए थे, PYQ से आए थे. I told you to cover
Yes,
the
ma'am.
questions. क्योंकि वो questions PYQ से क्लास में आप कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ लोगे, but ultimately what you have to do, you should know how to solve the MCQ. You should know how
Yes,
to
ma'am.
approach the MCQ, and you can get that confidence by solving PYQs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kavya. All right.
Ma'am, thank you so much for like achieving my goal with you.
So much, Kavya. Okay, bye, bye, Kavya.
Bye, ma'am.